And welcome back to Public Affairs on Peach. We're going to talk about the Democratic Party platform in this segment. Let's start with guns. The Democratic Party platform says sensible action is needed to curb gun violence. The Republican platform supports open carry laws and opposes any ban on semi-automatic weapons. It sounds like it's going to be an issue on the campaign trail come November. And Theron, let's start with you. What do you think? Is this all we're going to hear about until November?
Well, I think it's going to be front and center. Another highlight in Hillary Clinton's speech on Thursday was she talked about not taking away or opposing the Second Amendment. I mean, this was the first time that I think that she's really had everyone's attention, because one of the things that Republicans like to say is that when Democrats start talking about gun control, it's automatically a pivot towards, oh, you want to violate their Second Amendment rights. What Hillary Clinton said is that she's not trying to take away your guns. She's not trying to make it harder for you to get your guns. It's just that people who should not have guns in the first place should not have them. And so I think at the time you look at where Congress is still deadlocked, won't even actually bring up a vote around gun control. And if you look at where Hillary talked about a lot during her primary contest as far as doing something about the gun issue in our country, I think it's going to be front and center. And I think it's a plus for Hillary Clinton.
I think it's going to be an issue, but I think that as we move toward November, you're going to see both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump come more to the center on every issue, because up until this point, they have been talking to their base.
Do you think it's going to reemerge as a bigger issue if we have any more major incidents, you know, like Orlando or?
Orlando didn't occur because of any type of gun laws. I mean, the person that committed the Orlando shooting had a license to carry.
Right, but that's when it comes back into the news and into the spotlight, is when you have these mass shootings. Do you think that, you know, if one of those were to occur between now and November, that it would jump back into the spotlight?
Don't you think, though, that it would depend, Theron, on whether or not that laws are actually broken? Because, I mean, Democrats have used the Orlando shooting over and over as an example, but he did have a permit to carry, and he was also a security guard for a company that was employed or that was contracted by the Department of Homeland Security. So all the checks and balances were already there.
Yeah, the problem with the Orlando shooting, and not to, not answer your question, but one thing I want to point out is that this guy was actually being investigated, or had been investigated by the FBI. That's what Democrats are saying. Anyone who is under investigation or has been investigated by the FBI, not take away his right to purchase a gun, but, you know, let's really monitor the situation. As far as another mass shooting, listen, I mean, you know, we've had too many. And another thing that Hillary Clinton did a really good job of is not only talking about the armed African-American males who were shot and killed by police officers, but she also paid tribute to these officers and how they go out every single day to protect us. And now I think that I hope that we don't have another shooting before November, and I hope that we don't ever have another mass shooting like we've seen in America ever. But the truth of the matter is, when you have gun laws in place that makes it so easy for people with mental illnesses or people who actually wanted to promote hate to go and purchase a gun, and without any type of process or procedures in place, I think that's the challenge.
But there was a process, and like Theron said, the FBI did investigate him multiple times, and despite the fact that he was communicating with people that were known terrorists, they found no reason to hold him. It blows my mind that this issue can even be used.
Well, I think the thing is that, listen, we got to be fair about this, Julianne. The guy who you guys just nominated is a person who promoted a lot of hatred during his primary campaign. This gentleman who shot and killed those innocent victims in Orlando had a problem with the LGBT community. I mean, it was known. And so I think, listen, if you look at Democrats and how we have totally embraced the LGBT community versus your nominee and your convention platforms, which doesn't even sort of make any effort to really bridge that gap, I think we also got to be fair as far as it's not just the laws, but it's also some of the things that both candidates are promoting.
The hate that this person spewed didn't come from Donald Trump. It came from radical Islamic terrorism. And that is what he was, and that is what he was a part of. And that is something that too many Democrats are afraid to say, but the rest of America is saying it.
Well, we're not saying ban all Muslims.
Clearly a hot button issue. I definitely think we'll be hearing about it before November. We've got to move on, though. Next on Public Affairs on Peach, we look at both party platforms and we examine some of the key issues that we'll hear about between now and November.